If you could be paying less on your mortgage, you'd want to know, right? First Commerce Financial will look at your current mortgage statement at no cost and no obligation to see if they can provide you with a better option. And if you're in the market to purchase a home, they can also save you money as they provide some of the best rates without the junk fees associated with most mortgages. They've already helped over 225 Floridians save money this year. The options they have available are ready to help you with your mortgage or refinancing needs. Simply call 248-207-2404 or visit them online at firstcommercefinancial.com. Mention you heard it here first on Warchant.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into this edition of Warchant TV. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. He is Michael Langston, and he is why you're here. He's got all your recruiting news, and for even more, head over to warchant.com. Go to the recruiting board, the premium recruiting board. Use that promo code SAVE50. FSU gets you 50% off an annual membership if you're a new subscriber to warchant.com. And I'm going to go ahead and say it for you right now, Michael. We are recording this. It is Monday evening, so bear in mind that what Michael's talking about is it's a very fluid situation. So for the very latest and greatest, go to the premium recruiting board because my man doesn't sleep. He will let you know what's going on. So what is going on, Michael? How are you, man?
I'm good. Fantastic weekend. Had a really good time. We talked about this yesterday. It's just a lot of good flow for this recruiting weekend. Heard a lot of extremely positive things, not just on how the visits, the impact of the visits, but through the recruits' families of how detailed and oriented and how well run this thing was throughout the whole weekend.
All right, Michael, the early recruiting period begins on Wednesday. We're going to have everything covered for you on warchant.com. We're going to do some live look-ins from here in the Midtown offices, as well as Michael over at his crib, let you know what's going down. So I guess let's kind of start off in terms of what I don't want to make you make any predictions. You're going to save that obviously for the message boards, but just kind of maybe things fans can look forward to. I mean, obviously, Florida State has to sign a quarterback. They got a verbal commitment over the weekend. Who else might be on the horizon for Florida State besides the quarterback from Valdosta? Tate Rodemaker? I still want to say his name wrong. Is that okay?
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right. Tate obviously committed. I think he's ready to sign. I think they're good to go. Everything's all set there. So I think, barring some the world collapsing, you're going to have a quarterback for the first time in 3 years. So that's going to be a good sign. But I think the guy they're locked in on is obviously Chubba Purdy. Visited over the weekend, officially visited. It still amazes me how they were able to get this done in just a few days. And as far as getting him over there, he's from, I think, Scottsdale, Arizona. I could be wrong as far as the city, but I know he's from Arizona. So I think getting him on campus was a major feat. Not just getting him on campus, but if you want a chance, you have to bring the family, and mom and dad were there, and there was a big impression there. I know when Dad was walking out, he was wearing an FSU cap, so that was a kind of a positive thing. And it was more like when they were leaving, it was more like almost like, hey, we're going to see you again or something. It wasn't like, oh, goodbye forever, But I think there's a solid shot. I think there's a solid shot, but I think the main thing, there's two factors you have to look in as far as been long committed to Louisville since the summer. That's one dynamic. Two, got a good, solid relationship with Coach Satterfield over there at Louisville. So that's a positive. But at the same time, it's FSU. FSU and Louisville. I mean, it's FSU. And there's a good relationship with Kenny Dillingham, the offense coordinator at FSU. I think that's a big plus. So a lot of people have compared it to John Ray's Plumlee's from last year. But there's a big difference. One, this kid's not from Louisville. This kid's from Arizona. So he's way across the continent. And then two, there is a bond there. There was never a bond with Plumlee. There was never a connection with a coach on the staff. So I think that's a big thing. And two, they have already shown that they've got a really good feel for connecting with kids as far as about their vision and what they plan on doing. So I think it could go either way. I don't really have a call yet on this, but I think it could go either way. I think FSU really put made it really difficult for him to turn down FSU. But so I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Chubba on Wednesday, whenever that happens. But I think Chubba is the main guy. And then when we get in the later signing period, if somehow they don't win on that, one thing I've always pointed out as on the last few days is these guys always have a backup plan of, it's like they know the ending before the ending gets there. So they I'm sure they've already planned ahead. I think Robbie Ashford's another one. Jimmy Holiday's another guy, TCU commitment. I think there will be more quarterback targets when we get to that point. But I think right now all eyes are on Chuba. And if they get Chuba, I think that pretty much locks everything down as far as high school recruiting. And then I feel like they're probably going to potentially bring in a grad transfer. I think that's very likely.
Something that I thought was interesting, I don't know if you caught wind of it on Monday, Michael, but we spoke to Kenny Dillingham as well as Adam Fuller being the defensive coordinator, Dillingham, the OC, and he was asked about the philosophy or kind of his beliefs, schemes, things like that. And he said that they are a pro-style offense that goes fast. So I do think that's kind of maybe a little bit illuminating in terms of what happened with Jeff Sims and why they might be targeting Purdy and maybe going to some other options after that, seems like, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you watched their offenses with Dillingham and certainly Norvell. They want guys that can throw the ball, and they want guys that know how to locate the ball. They want guys that know how to handle things as far as inside the pocket. They want to see their guys totally in control, and they want guys that fit that system. And so I think it's not a surprise that they want Tate over there in Valdosta, is because Tate's threw for like over 3,000 yards and 42 touchdowns. And if you watch Tate in action, whether you've seen him live like I have or film, you can see this kid knows how to wear the ball placement. He's the guy. He's the Norvell guy when you watch him. I think Chuba has some of those same things. So I think they have a typical mindset, what they want, and they're executing that. They're not going to settle. There's no settling for this staff when they look at things. It's like, we want this guy. This is the guy we're going to get, and they aggressively go after it. And they're genuine and straightforward. Whether it's heartbreaking or not for some of the kids when they tell them, it's a business that you have to do. If you want to win, it comes down to doing all the things that you need to do as far as executing who you need there. I have not watched the Dillingham presser yet. I'm actually in the middle of watching Fuller, and I can tell you that was extremely impressive from what I've seen so far. Much different than anything I've heard before or the previous staff. Just the details, the schemes, you feel like you were getting to know him. You feel like you were talking in the living room with him and getting to know the guy, and so I was very impressed by that, but I'm interested to hear Dillingham because I've heard it's a lot of energy. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think their plan, whether it's offense or defense, they are going to execute it and they're going to get it done. And they have a plan, no matter what it takes. They're going to execute that plan, and you can see why these two guys are so good in the living room.
Let's stay in the backfield, Michael. Running back. Golly, 2 years ago, we're just talking about the wealth, the embarrassment of riches that Florida State had in the backfield, and now it's, nail-biting season in terms of what's going to happen with Cam Akers declaring early and Kalen Laborn's status kind of being up in the air. What's going on over at running back? Jalen Knighton was once committed, obviously decommitted a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, rather. Where do you see Florida State, some of the options they have at maybe the running back position and maybe a number they have in mind they want there?
Well, I think the number in general, they definitely want to get 3. I think they definitely want to get 3. They already have Toafili. We reported, like yesterday, we talked to him. He's very likely to sign on Wednesday, so that will be one in the fold. And then they want to get 2 or 3 more. It might be even up to 4. There's a lot of guys that'll be in the picture. Jalen Knighton's likely to go to Miami. I haven't heard anything new there, so unless they kept that kid kidnapped inside FSU all weekend that we don't know about. I don't think he visited. So, but I think guys they'll focus on. I think a guy to know is a Columbus running back out of Miami, Henry Parrish. He was once committed to Pittsburgh. A lot of people have him teetering towards Florida. He's going to officially visit there, I think, late in January. Do not be surprised if FSU sets up an official visit. He's very tight with, from what I hear, Telly Lockett. So he knows Telly well. And I've heard that FSU was his favorite team growing up. That's a team he's always liked. So I think if FSU gets involved in here, I think it could get interesting with him. Dejon Everett's going to be a late signing guy. So I think Georgia, Florida State are the teams to know there. I think if Georgia pushes, it would be really interesting. And it won't be easy for FSU to pull that off, but at the same time, he really loves FSU. He loves how close it is at home, and that's a big factor for Dejon. I would still lean towards FSU being the team to watch the most. I think they're still the favorite. And then I think there's going to be a lot of names that I come up with in the next week right after this early signing period where I find out who these targets are, who they're going to go after. But I think I was told, now I don't know names yet, but I was told there's at least 5 to 7 backs that they're locked in for the later signing period. So they have a target plan as far as what they're going to do. It's my job to find out who these guys are, which is not going to be easy with a new staff, but going to do some digging on that, this week. And then hopefully later I can do a 12 to watch and kind of give people kind of what to expect, what guys are going to go after. But I think those are some of the guys I know offhand right now that they would certainly go after.
In terms of pass catchers, we know Carter Boatwright still in the boat for Florida State. Brian Robinson, I'm sure you'll have information about him on warchant.com. But obviously, when it comes to offense, everybody wants to know about offensive line. How much help is out there for Florida State? How many guys do you think they're involved with that they could potentially try to bring in? I mean, is there a number there? I mean, we know that Adakevich has kind of fallen off, so but he's more of an interior guy. But it sounds like, talking to you the other day, tackles is the real premium position because they feel pretty good about what they have on the interior. Yeah,
I think they feel pretty good, just what they have on their current roster in the interior, who what they're going to bring in going to the spring and develop. And then you have Zane Zane Herring will play guard, so he'll be coming in. That's one commit. The other commit is Lloyd Willis. He's an offensive tackle. I think Thomas Schrader, probably an offensive tackle, but we'll have to see, if he goes inside or outside. But so those are your 3 commits right now. I think they're going to sign as many as they can get. I mean, I think they're going to be heavy in the transfer portal. I think they're going to talk to a lot of guys. They probably already have several guys in mind that they think they could pull from that. But I think the later signing period, we're going to hear a lot about JUCO offensive line because, as I said last night, they have got to flip the script on this roster. They got to flip this offensive line. There's some talented guys there. I think Dante Lucas is very talented. I think there's some others I can't even, I'm losing track as far as remembering. But there's some good talent, but most of the talent's all in the interior. I think majority of these guys you see were JUCO, grad transfer, high school kids. It's going to be guys that offensive tackles that can help them, but I think they're going to load up as many. I'm not going to give a number because it could be, way up there as far as a number. I think they have a number in mind and they're going to execute. I think they want to get, certainly have 3 right now. And I think they want to get, even 3, I would say 3 to 4 tackles, 5, maybe 5 tackles to add on to this class. I mean, they really, I was told by somebody who's really close to, FSU that's their biggest focus is having a plan for offensive line and getting this done. Not, just settling for this guy that has potential. They want guys that can help them now, and so they're going to focus on that.
Another thing you'll hear once you listen to Kenny Dillingham's presser is, I thought it was kind of interesting, Michael. He mentioned that they're not necessarily looking, I don't know how to I don't want to misconstrue his words, but basically he said what they're focused on right now in terms of recruiting is the numbers game. Just they know they have certain slots to fill at certain positions, and that's kind of what they're most focused on. So that probably speaks really well to your point about the fact that they know football. They've watched the film. They know it's Florida State. They know they need to get offensive linemen ASAP. So that's obviously a really good sign. Let's pivot to the defensive side of the ball, Michael, and for as much grief that we've given the offensive line over the last few years, the defense has done their part to try to get some of the heat off their back with the lack of depth they really had last season. Defensive line just as important for Florida State.Maybe this is also the same thing, right? It sounds like stuff on the perimeter, guys on the ends is the real sort of catch for them.
Yeah, I think linebackers and DBs, I think they're okay there. Might add one more linebacker, but I think if they got the 2 that they got and they signed, and obviously they're signing early, both of them, Stephen Dix and Jalen McCluster, but you're right, the interior, the defense line is where they're going to focus. They need some edge rushers bad. I mean, they need some edge rushers, like really pure pass rushers that can get after the quarterback. That's what Fuller's been selling as far as Just getting these guys in there, getting guys that pass rush and getting there that can play early because they have very little there at that position. They got to load up. Now, defensive tackle, they have Manny Rogers. I think Manny, in my opinion, Manny's one of the best defensive tackles in Florida, if not the South. I mean, he's very good. He's very talented. A lot of people ask, oh, will he play offensive line because he does that in high school? No, he's a defensive tackle. People Odell would kill somebody if somebody tried to mess with that guy. I mean, Odell loves that guy, and he's a guy that I think could play early. He's a guy that's very talented. But I think if in a perfect world, they would like to add 2 more defensive tackles if they could in this class. Certainly need to add at least 1 more because they need better. They need a lot more depth than what they have on the defensive tackle position. I think they need to, if they can load up there with 3 guys, I think they would be pretty excited about that. But they know they need to load up on the trenches because Marvin Wilson, we obviously probably leaving. Corey Durden, we don't know what his status is, if he's coming back or if he's staying. So if you lose those guys, you don't have a lot of depth there, and you need some playmakers there in the trenches. And I think that's going to be a heavy focus too, not just offensive line. I'd say the second most thing is either running backs or defensive tackles or defensive line in general. They want to load up there.
Michael, as we sit here and talk right now, Florida State has 13 commits. 36th is the team ranking right now in Rivals.com. So they've got a lot of room, obviously, to move up when they get some of these kids to sign on Wednesday. Right. But you've mentioned it a few times now about the late signing period, a.k.a. February, the one that we all grew up on. Mm-hmm. How much damage do you think they're going to do in February? Should we be looking more forward to February and what Florida State can accomplish, or do you think the meat of what they're trying to get done will be accomplished this Wednesday?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot more done in the later signing period, but I think the early signing period is very important. First of all, signing all these guys that we saw visit. Okay, there was 18 official visitors this weekend, so that means if you signed every one of those guys, that's 18. Okay, we put the numbers as 27 to 29 of what they can take. If you do that, if you get to the 29 point, that means they got 11 spots. So they're going to, if you had that, but if they got to that point. So the later signing period, you're going to sign, more guys, or there's a lot more guys on the radar that you're going to be able to sign. So I think the early signing period, we have like probably 4 or 5 guys, maybe 6 that, are making decisions that could certainly bolster FSU's chances. 4-star Morven Joseph, defensive end, obviously 3-star defensive end Josh Griffiths, quarterback Chuba Purdy out of Arizona. I mean, if you got those guys and you got all those guys, they would immediately there would be a lot of surge moving up from the early signing period, and that's a perfect scenario. But the early signing period will be important to get the boost going as far as going into that later one. It's kind of a jump start.
And so people don't get confused. I don't know, a few years ago they capped it at 25 in terms of how many you can bring in a signing class, but the early enrollee stuff factors into that, right?
Right. You got about 5 or 6, maybe 7 that are going to early enroll. So I put a little list up that I could think off the top of my head, and I think it was going to be between 5 to 7 early enrollees that I have right now. I can list them off the top of my head. I think Tate Rodemaker is going to be one. I think I don't know. Toafili's not enrollees early, so not him. But Brian Robinson, if you got him, that will be another one. He's enrolling early. Tight end Carter Boatwright is enrolling early. We know Zane Herring's enrolling early. He's already said that. And then the 2 linebackers, I think they're likely to enroll early. I know Steven Dix is definitely enrolling early. And then Jayon told me he feels he's going to roll early. They got the plan. It's just about credits and finishing that stuff up. So if he does that and he does the necessary work, Jayon will be there too. So you're looking at 6 or 7. So when you do that, the numbers kind of equal itself out, and it comes down. Everyone's asking me, Michael, how many guys can you sign in the early sign-up years? Like, guys, you're focused on the wrong thing. The focus is how many hitting that 85 scholarship limit. As long as you hit under, with that 85 scholarship limit, you're fine. And the numbers seem to always work themselves out, whether guys lead the team or attrition or whatnot. So I think the main focus is getting what they need in there, and then obviously in the early signing period, getting these guys signed, because that will give them a big boost to take a lot of pressure off them going into that later one, and they can just go balls to the wall and just nail it.
Michael, I really like Twitter. I'm on Twitter an awful lot. Aslan Hodges is my Twitter handle. Yours is Michael Warchant. But I feel like Twitter's kind of taken some of the steam or some of the juice out of signing. There used to be so many sort of signing day surprises. I don't want you to give any away,
right,
and I don't want you to lie to tease people over to warchant.com to subscribe. But do you have any sense, or is there any name that we haven't really heard talked about? And again, you don't have to disclose it, but is there anything brewing behind the scenes you think that could maybe be a pleasant surprise for Florida State? Or do we pretty much know everything because you're on top of everything and letting everybody know?
I'm never. I mean, that's the thing with me. I've been doing it for 19 years, but that doesn't mean I'm always on top of it. I mean, it's just I go by what everyone I talk to, and you trust your information you're getting. But I think most of them we've covered that are on the board that we've talked about. There's no guy on the board that I think we've talked about that's kind of going to be just a shocker out of the blue. Now, you got a new staff, so anything can happen. They might pull a surprise out there. I don't know, but. Basically, I think, you look at it, there's several guys, and we've covered this over the weekend, and I covered this in my mill of guys that I think, they have a good chance of pulling. And then there's obviously battles, other ones that are battles that are close battles that FSU could pull off. So I think you could get some additions to this class, several additions actually, to get this thing going in the later signing period. But I don't think there's anybody like just out of the radar that we haven't, that I haven't mentioned, at least to my knowledge.
Head over to warchant.com. Michael's going to have, if he doesn't already have it up, not to put any more pressure on you than you already have, Michael, but he'll have a list of the signing times that we can confirm are going to go down. Right now we'll flash up a couple of the names that we know, and for a full list you can check, again, warchant.com. Michael's got it for you. So it's going to be a pretty busy day, it seems like, for us on Wednesday, right? It's going to start early and kind of continue throughout the afternoon, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, most of the time these things are done by noon, maybe 2 o'clock. So a lot of people I think it's going to be a busy morning because most kids want to get it in during the morning. Most kids, when they do their signing, they're going to sign before they go to their ceremony, turn it in. So I think they'll flow in pretty consistently as far as the signings, and we'll go from there. It's a really exciting day, and then we'll have another signing day later in February. But I think Wednesday is going to be exciting. It'll be fun, and I think there's a lot of buzz and excitement, not just among recruits, but I think among high school coaches. I think among inside that building at Moore Athletic Center. It's the first time I can say, even when Willie Taggart was there, I didn't get the sense of this kind of just buzz and excitement. It's a different kind of excitement. I don't know how to explain that, but it's just weird. It's just different.
I hear it. All right, man. Michael, can't thank you enough for your time, man, and your knowledge. For even more of it, folks, head to warchant.com. Use a promo code SAVE50. FSU gets you 50% off an annual membership over on the Ultimate Seminoles Sports Source. Again, we recorded this on Wednesday or Monday evening, so head to warchant.com, get the very latest from Michael over on the Premium Recruiting Board. Michael, thanks, man. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday with our live look-ins.
You got it.
Your home is one of the most valuable assets you will ever purchase in your lifetime. As a pure mortgage broker, our goal is to provide our clients with the best options surrounding that purchase decision. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance an existing home, First Commerce Financial provides 5-star service while saving you thousands of dollars along the way. If you are in Florida, call me at 248-207-2404 or reach us at www.firstcommercefinancial.com.